Welcome all of you chirpers out there. My name is Tohi and I'm so excited that you're joining us for another virtual birdwalk presented by Chirp Nature Centers. Now Chirp has been putting on these virtual events for about a year, but we've been hosting free birdwalks for, this is our third year now. So go ahead and post in the chat, what is your favorite bird on your life list and where are you joining us from? All right, so below me, you can see some of the footage from Happy Hills Trail. Now, we went there as a group in person this past week, and we had so much fun going there that I'm going to take you back there today, virtually. Because ultimately, our goal at Chirp Nature Center is to wrap our wings around our community and birders all over the world to get you connected to nature any way we can, no matter where you are. So, before we get started, I would like to introduce you to our guide for today. His name is Randy Putz, and he is the owner of Chirp Nature Center in 2018. He and his wife created it, and he is a nature enthusiast. So whether he's leading birdwalks or selling seed, you can bet Randy's goal is to connect people to nature using birds as inspiration. And for the last 20 years, Randy has been a dedicated community servant, and he currently serves as Mayor Pro Tem of Big Bear Lake. Pretty cool, huh? And here he is.
Hi Tohi, I am at one of my favorite birding locations and I like it for a couple of reasons. One, it's easy to get to. It's a short distance from Chirp. It's across the parking lot from City Hall and it's got great parking and easy flat access. I also like it because it takes us up Metcalf Creek along a water source and up into our beautiful national forest.
All right, well, post in the chat if you've ever been to this location. It's one of my favorites as well, and for those of you who don't know, let me show you where it is. Today we're going to be going to Happy Hills Trail, and it's a 7-minute drive from Chirp, from our new Chirp in Big Bear Lake's West Village. And the great thing about this trail is it's very easily accessible. There's parking at Big Bear Lake City Hall, and there's about a 0.2-mile paved path which continues into the forest on a slightly more intermediate dirt trail. We're going to hike on both today. And you're also part of our bird identifying team. So as Randy gives clues about the birds, it's your job to post their name in the chat before Randy reveals them. And I challenge you, go ahead and guess as many as you can, because the more you practice, the better you're going to become at identifying birds. So I hope you're ready. I am too. Let's get started.
Of course, before we get started, I want to make sure I have all the right gear that's going to make my bird watching the best possible experience. I have my Zeiss binoculars. I have my favorite bird guide. This one is the Peterson's for Western North America. I have a Chirp checklist to keep track of all the birds that I see. And I may also use eBird on my digital device. I'm ready to go. I hope you are. Let's get started.
Well, it looks like Randy is ready to spot some birds. So let's see what we can find.
I'm watching this bird as it uses its sharp beak to forage. The male version of this bird has a red crown on the top of its head. It has rose-tinted feathers on its body, and it has a thin white ring around its eye. The females and the juveniles are more bland. They're brown and white. They have streaks on the chest and belly. The red pigment for the males comes from chemicals found in food that it eats, like berries. There's also some lookalikes, and if you look in your guide, you'll see that there are other birds that look a lot like this bird. House finches and purple finches look like this bird. And sometimes it can be tough to tell them apart, but it's also fun to try and figure out which is which. This particular bird is a Cassins Finch.
Well, congratulations on identifying your first bird. These birds do have thick and strong bills, which makes it perfect for them to break open sunflower seeds. So if you want to attract some of these birds to your backyard, I highly recommend offering some sunflower seeds for them to enjoy. Scientists have also found that the Cassins Finch often will add calls of other species to their own songs, which makes them musical mimics. You can also listen to the quick, cheery song of a male This is what he sounds like when he's trying to show off his musical talent. Well, it looks like we found our first bird on the forest floor, but let's go ahead and look up in the trees to see what we can find there.
I spotted this bird high up on a branch, perched, waiting for bugs. This is a flycatcher that will sit, and once it sees an insect, will fly out, grab it, and come back and rest on the branch. So that behavior is one to look for that will give you a clue. It has two pale wing bars, a whitish, grayish belly and breast, also on the sides. That makes it look like it's wearing a vest. It's very protective of its nest. The males will chase away other birds, and it will do so making a clapping noise with its bill. This particular flycatcher is better known as the western wood peewee.
Did you get it? Just checking in. So the scientific name for this bird in Greek actually means dirty foot. So I'm going to try my best to pronounce this. In Greek, kontos means short. Pous means foot. So the first word means short foot. And then sordigulus means dirty or unkept. So their name literally means short, dirty foot. And interesting enough, eastern and western wood peewees migrate to South America in winter, and they look so similar and they don't call during the winter, so ornithologists actually have a hard time saying where each species spends their time. You can listen for the short, drawn-out peeps of an adult male. Here we go. And as the saying goes, we have two birds in the bush, but for us birders, that's exactly where we want them to be.
I just caught a glimpse of a sparrow hiding out in the tree. The male version of this bird has a black-headed neck, white spots on its wings and its back, brick coloring on its sides, and a white belly. The female's more of a gray-brown. It has a similar pattern on the wings. And when this sparrow is on the ground, it does this sort of backwards scratching hop. They call it double scratching, and it uses this to uncover food while it forages. If you got this one, well done. We have just spotted the spotted Tohi.
How do we do? Well, scientists suggest that the bold white spots on the spotted Tohi's backs actually helps them blend in to the sun-dappled undergrowth. So that's some pretty beautiful camouflage if you ask me. You can also listen for these birds during the breeding season because males will spend up to 70 to 90% of their mornings singing to try to attract a mate. And once they do, they will only sing for about 5% of their day. So, you know where their priorities lie. You can listen to the dawn song of this spotted Tohi. All right, Randy, well, what else are you seeing as we walk along Happy Hills Trail?
I've got historic buildings on my left, I've got Metcalf Creek on my right, and lots of water and birds.
Now, these cabins were actually part of the Tamarack Lodge Camp for girls, which opened in 1929. Talk about some true Big Bear history. And oh, it looks like these cabins are now home to a new kind of camper. Let's get a closer look.
I just saw a bird zip by. I'll often see these in groups, and it's probably headed towards its nest. And it loves to fly about very quickly and eat insects that are in the air. The adults have a dark blue back, a white belly, a pale pumpkinish colored rump. It's got a brick red face with a small light colored forehead patch. That allows you to recognize this bird even when it's flying by very quickly. They build mud nests. They use vertical faces and eaves of buildings perhaps like this, and they form these nests in large colonies, sometimes numbering in the thousands. This is a cliff swallow.
Now, with so many neighbors, some swallows will actually lay eggs in other swallows' nests. So sometimes they may lay eggs in their own nest, and then they carry one of their eggs in their bill and put it in another female's nest. So it's kind of like, you know, preemptive babysitting. Because of the juvenile's variable plumage and their distinct facial markings, parents can recognize their chicks among the thousands of next-door neighbors. Pretty cool and convenient when you're trying to call them home for dinner. And on your next walk, when you're listening for these cliff swallows, you can be on the listen or lookout, now listen, for their soft chirp of the swallows. And I'm not going to try and imitate it, just take a listen. Honestly, this is a pretty unique find and pretty awesome that we got to see it up close. And what other unique elements do we have going on this walk, Randy?
I mentioned one of the reasons why this is one of my favorite spots is because of the ease of access. There's a 1/4 mile paved path here, which is great for kids and strollers. And there are these little rest areas, picnic benches and tables where you can just pull over and take a nice break. It's just a lovely, lovely place to spend some time in nature.
And let me tell you, the kids on our last in-person birdwalk, they loved this location. Maybe just as much as I loved watching this bird buzzing around the open meadow. It's pretty common, so I guarantee you can guess it.
If we had been a little quicker, we would have caught this bird, small little guy, a hummingbird, the most common hummingbird on the Pacific coast. And if we had listened closely, we may have heard a high-pitched chirp. It has beautiful plumage, an emerald green body, ruby feathers up top. They don't migrate far during the winter because they have very good survival skills. They can slow their heart rate, they can drop their body temperature, and even enter a state of hibernation. This particular hummingbird is named after an Italian duchess, and it is an Anna's hummingbird.
Did you get it? Well, when we saw this hummingbird, it was actually drinking nectar from these wildflowers. Let's see if Randy will show them to you in a second. And while he does, let me just let you know that a hummingbird's metabolism is so fast that they have to consume half of their weight in sugar per day to survive. So to put that in perspective, that would be like a human drinking 1,163 cans of Coca-Cola a day. There you go. So that was actually the wildflower that we saw our hummingbird drinking out of. It was awesome. Such a nature moment. Also, another amazing thing about these animals, these birds, is that as part of their mating display, the males will fly up 130 feet and then dive straight down. And at the bottom of their dive, they'll let out a little squeak right in front of their potential mate. What a way to draw attention to yourself. And I honestly love listening to these little chirps. My grandma has a hummingbird feeder that she hangs right outside her window, so whenever I think of the hummingbirds, I also think of her. And it sounds just like this. All right, let's go ahead and focus a little bit more on the brush right behind us. Oh, actually right behind this seating area. What do you see, Randy?
I'm seeing a small, energetic bird. It's only about 5 inches long. Its weight would be the equivalent of 2 teaspoons of water. It's lighter brown overall. It's got dark bars on its wings and tail. It's got a pale eyebrow, which is common in other birds of this type. It is a mean little guy, and it will fiercely compete for nest sites, even attacking larger birds, and it will remove eggs and babies from competitors' nests. This is the small but mighty house wren.
Now, house wrens are cavity nesters, and so that means that they're going to house in nesting boxes, in trees, and to prevent parasites from infesting their nests and harming their babies, the wrens will actually add spider egg sacs to their nests when making them. And once the spiders hatch, they will eat the dangerous parasites and in turn protect the wren babies. Quite a relationship. Now, house wrens breed from Canada to South America, which makes it have the largest range of any songbird in the New World. The largest breeding range. Just thought I'd clarify that. Also, a group of wrens is referred to. Well, in case you were wondering what wrens sound like, it's like that. Because a group of wrens is referred to as a chime. And I'm sure after listening to that, you understand why. All right, well, it looks like we're coming to the end of the paved path, but it's safe to say that our birding adventure is still in full swing, or full wing.
After a short walk, the paved path of the Happy Hills Trail ends, and we reach the boundary of the National Forest. But your birdwalk doesn't have to stop. You can continue up the canyon along Metcalf Creek and up towards an old campground called Coldbrook Campground that is now shut down, but it's a great place to walk around and look for more birds.
As you can see, this is the property boundary for the National Forest. For the Happy Hills Trail, the National Forest laying right beyond. And I think we should go ahead and check out what we see right by those rocks, maybe. Let's see what we can find.
It's feeding time in the forest. This is a bird of prey that has broad shoulders, rounded wings, a very long tail. The adults are sort of a steely blue-gray above, warm reddish bars on the chest, and thick bands across its tail. It's actually one of the most skillful flyers, and it's very fast. It hits speeds of up to 55 miles an hour. The males are smaller than the females, and the females specialize in eating medium-sized birds. The males, perhaps understandably, are submissive and cautious. We just saw a Cooper's hawk.
Now, Cooper's hawks and sharp-shinned hawks can be very difficult to tell apart because their plumage is so similar. But let me give you a little trick I just learned. A Cooper hawk head shape is more dome-shaped. Okay, so whereas the sharp-shinned hawk has a small rounded head. So although it may be difficult to be able to gauge their size because they are different sizes, take a look at their head shape and that will be a dead giveaway, whether it's a Cooper hawk or a sharp-shinned hawk. They also are very skillful hunters, and they're no stranger to injury. In order to catch their prey, they will dash through vegetation and catch birds while they're hunting. And in a study of over 300 Cooper's hawk skeletons, 23% showed old, healed-over fractures in the bones on the chest. Pretty impressive. Also, this is the sound of a juvenile's call, probably ready for its afternoon snack. You go, little guy. All right, let's follow Randy over to that rock formation and see what we can find.
Ah, this bird we see a lot at feeders, and it's quite striking. The male has orange on the front. It has a contrasting black head, black and white wings. Its bill is big and cone-shaped and is perfect for cracking open and eating sunflower seeds. A fun fact about this particular bird is it is one of the monarch butterfly's few predators. Monarch butterflies, of course, are poisonous to most other animals, but this particular bird has developed the ability to eat them in 8-day cycles and then eliminate the toxins from its body so that it doesn't get overloaded. This is the black-headed grosbeak.
Now, the black-headed grosbeak makes very thinly constructed nests, so thin that the eggs can be seen from the bottom of the nest. And it is believed that this is to provide ventilation for the eggs to keep them cool. So their little homes have like built-in AC. Pretty smart. These birds also dine on tree seeds, insects, berries, spiders, and fruit. And if you want to attract them to your yard, be sure to provide them with delicious sunflower seeds as well. And I mean, who wouldn't want to wake up to the sound of this lovely song right outside their window? And although the path continues, our birdwalk is coming to an end. So let's follow Randy a bit further and see if we can get one more bird in before we say goodbye.
I've taken a slight detour down into Metcalf Creek so that I can be among the willows, because I'm looking for a bright yellow dot hopping from branch to branch. This bird has a medium-length tail, a rounded head, a larger, straighter bill. It's different from other birds of its kind because of this bill, and the males and the females are both bright yellow, but the male has red streaks on its chest. There are over 50 different species of this particular kind of bird. I'll give you a hint, a warbler, in North America, but its bright yellow coloring makes it stand out and inspires its name. Did you guess it? We are admiring the yellow warbler.
Well, I'm sure glad that Randy took this detour because this bird is beautiful. Not to mention it's pretty interesting. So brown-headed cowbirds will frequently parasite the yellow warbler's nests, and the warbler will often build a new nest directly on top of the parasited one. So sometimes resulting in a nest with up to 6 tiers. Is it a penthouse at that point? These little birds, they're tiny and they're so light, they honestly weigh as much as like 2 quarters. So they've been found caught in an orb weaver's spider's web. Pretty impressive. I mean, also, spiders' webs are pretty strong. Nature's awesome. And its song is as bright as they are. There it is. I was hoping we would hear it again. Well, what a gem to find as we head home. Post in the chat, did you identify a new bird today? Or do you now have a new favorite bird? All right, well, Randy's going to say goodbye, but don't go anywhere because I'm about to tell you the grand prize that you can win for joining us today. And it's pretty awesome.
I want to thank you for joining us on another glorious bird walk here in Big Bear Lake. If you have a chance, please stop by and say hi. We're in our new nest on Bonanza Trail in Big Bear Lake's West Village, right near the bowling barn. I hope you stay happy, stay healthy, and stay birding.
Well, until we see you again, let us know how we can help. We're located at 578 Bonanza Trail in Big Bear Lake, West Village. If you haven't checked out our new location, I highly encourage you to do so. We would love to hear from you. You can call us, you can email us at help@chirpforbirds.com, or check out our website, chirpforbirds.com. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe to our social media channels because we have bird content being posted and shared every day. So we guarantee by following our social medias, you will better your bird brain. All right, before we go ahead and check the chat for both the links to the birdwalk quiz and the eBird checklist. So all the birds that we saw on our in-person birdwalk, we used the app that Randy mentioned at the beginning, eBird, to list all of those birds. You can check it out, and hopefully that'll motivate you to join us, whether it be in person or virtually, next time. Until then, just like Randy said, I hope you stay happy, stay healthy, and stay birding. Have a wonderful rest of your evening.